Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out I Do Work Here Lady. Story 1. Beggars can't be choosers literally. I do work here, lady. The other day I was outside my work office block in the city center, on my smoke break talking with my workmates. It's quite a nice day, so we're all enjoying the weather, no coats or jackets on, and out work passes on lanyards around our necks quite obviously. Now, bearing in mind that this is the city center, there's not too much through traffic, pedestrian or otherwise. There is a large park by our office where a fair amount of homeless people gather to drink ECT, but not much else around. It's pretty obvious where we are standing that we work for the office building. It's also not a public building, you have to have a pass to get past the door, and there's no real need why anyone who doesn't work in this building would be standing outside it, although where we stand is technically public land. A homeless-seeming guy comes over and asks for any spare change. We didn't have any cash and told him that. He then asked if we could spare a smoke. All my friends do the obligatory pat down and excuses of last cigarette ECT. I feel kinda bad for the guy as he was polite upon asking, and there really isn't anything worse than not having a smoke when you're craving one, so offered him mine. I passed the guy the whole pack to take a cigarette from, but kept a keen eye on him as he did look a bit flighty, and I didn't really want him running off with basically a fresh pack of smokes. The guy looked at the package, pulled a disgusted face, and started bitching and moaning about the brand of tobacco to me. "Could you not afford anything better?" he asks. "It's not a cheap brand." My friend and I exchanged a look of, is this guy serious? And I shrugged and told him I like what I like, I guess. He then asked me if I had any other cigarettes he could have instead. I was baffled. I'm not some sort of cigarette vending machine. I laughed and said, "No, sorry, that's all I have. If you don't want, then I'm sure you can ask someone else." He mumbled something I didn't really hear and took 2 cigarettes out the box. Cheeky, but whatever. He lit one of the cigarettes and then jumped up from where he was sitting on the wall and spluttering and screamed, "What the fuck? They're menthol!" and threw the box at me, yelling, "What the fuck? Menthol? Why don't you just get a job?" I pointed to my lanyard and said, "What? I literally work right here." And with that he walked off, still smoking my cigarettes, shouting, "Whatever. Just get a job, you freak, get a job." Leaving me to pick up the box and stare after him in complete shock. Later my friend said he obviously want to wear. Beggars literally can't be choosers. Anyway, apologies, it wasn't a juicy Karen story, just a bizarre one instead. TLDR, guy begging for money and cigarettes takes issue with the brand of cigarettes I gave him and then told me to get a job so I could earn better money to give him better freebies, all whilst standing outside my workplace. Story 2. I'm literally wearing my uniform and I have a key. I do work here, lady. So I used to work at the Way of Speed for almost 3 years. I was one of 2 full-time closers, so that meant I had a key. We usually closed at 11 p.m. but on Friday and Saturday it was midnight. Now to the story. On this night, it was a weekend, so I was going to be there until midnight. I clean my store, close the tills, lock the door and wait outside for my boyfriend to pick me up. 30 minutes later he finally shows up. I get in the car and as we're just about to pull away, a lady cop pulls up behind us with lights on. She walks up to the driver's side door and asks what we were doing there. I tell her that I work here and I just closed, but my ride, pointing to my boyfriend, was late. LC, well, it looks suspicious being in the parking lot after closing. Me, how is it suspicious that I'm at my job after closing when I'm the one responsible for locking the door? I even showed her my uniform shirt. LC, well, it's still suspicious. I don't remember everything that was said, but my boyfriend began to argue with her and she eventually let us go home. That was 4 years ago, and to this day I wish I would have just unlocked the store and set off the alarm. SMDH. Story 3. A weird story. I do work here, lady. So for context, I work at an arts and crafts store, and as someone who is majoring in arts and has a hobby in arts, I tend to shop there as well. So I was already clocked off and me and my mom were shopping and I decided I wanted some new Copic markers. My bosses don't mind that I take the keys to unlock the cabinet they're in, so I do so. Now our uniform is typically a red shirt or a vest. However, the thing is when I go to put them back near the registers, a lady asks if I can help her and I just kinda freeze up on not knowing how to respond. I wasn't wearing my vest, just khakis and a jacket with an anime t-shirt. Thankfully my coworker behind the register offered to help her when I was just about to respond. I probably would have said I have to work here but I'm off the clock, what can I help you with? But I was just so stunned. Story 4. I am the teacher. I do work here, lady. I've started my master's program and they have given me a couple higher level courses to teach while I continue to study. I am only 22 and I certainly look my age. So today, naturally, I walk into my first lab of the semester. In the front row I notice a handful of peers from my undergrad a few months ago. They see me and say no way, it's OP. Even you had to retake this class, with a bit of smugness at the thought of finding themselves in the same boat as me. With the most smug look I know has ever had the chance to grace my face, I reply, nope. I am the teacher. They are stunned. I am laughing. I told them not to worry because they shouldn't fail this time. On another occasion, some students had wandered into my lab room seeking a place to study while I was taking a break in between classes. We ended up chatting for a bit and having some laughs. I suggested we get to studying because the class comes in soon. They say, are you sure the teacher won't mind us being in here? I say I am the teacher, so no, it's no problem. Their attitude went from casual to uptight immediately. Once again they are stunned and I'm laughing. I am starting to love the element of surprise. Story 5. Looking for new mods. I do work here, lady. Hi all. Our mod team has been stretched thin these days and we are looking to bring in engaged community members. Please respond below with detailed qualifications and interest below to be considered. Thanks. Story 6. I don't do my job for free, bucko. I do work here, lady. I, 32F, work A.ms at McDick's by where I live and today I went in to get my check. I was wearing destroyed mom jeans, Crocs, and a like sports bra sort of thing. I love this regular who this story is about, and it just surprised me that he acted like this. He came in while I was there and they were so busy. This dude seriously has been waiting for his food in the lobby instead of pulling into one of the reserved spots, you know, the ones we use specifically for holds. So obviously I don't have my check yet. So I just leaned slightly in the frame of the kitchen and grabbed a cup and go get some tea. I'm filling up my cup with the tea, and came back up to wait for my check. This guy looks at me and says, you work here so you can make my drinks for me, at least they're taking forever. I try to explain to him that it is against corporate policy to be behind the counter not in uniform. No one really cares about that, but this dude was being a prick about it, so it was based on principle. He starts to get loud and I'm looking at him in disbelief. This man is yelling at me to do my job. Then my store manager heard him screaming and she came out of the office and pulled me aside and asked what the dealio was. She told me to handle it however I wanted to, as I'm not on the clock. His face is beet red and a vein is pulsing on his forehead. BC he is that level of big mad about literally nothing. I said, Tom, I don't know what you're going through right now. I'm not in uniform. I cannot go behind the counter or I could get fired. Screaming at me and other employees is disrespectful. Taking out your anger on any employee anywhere is not cool. Especially not here. Please go get in your car and drive around to one of hold spots. My manager said it was, direct quote, the most iconic way to tell a customer to fuck off but still have your customer service mask on. We have some of the same friends and I do know he used to smoke glass but it now. Meth would explain the behavior. Also, I think this dude is secretly a cop because he always orders his drinks with no ice. I feel like he calls Gatorade by the name of the flavor and not the color too. I'm on tenterhooks waiting for Monday to find out what happened when they brought his food and drinks out. I'll post an update. TL, DR. I come into work to get my check in street clothes and customer can't understand why I won't make his drinks. I told him to fuck off and leave the lobby. He did. Story 7. I work in big box stores servicing displays and assisting staff. I have a large ID badge I wear on a lanyard that clearly says who I am and what company I'm with. Apparently not having the tiny visitor sticker means I'm not authorized after over a year working at the same store. I do work here, lady. On this particular day I was assisting with pull by going around to check lanes, gust services, security, etc., and collecting spider wrap and keepers to put on this new release that was selling as fast as we could get it off the truck. It was hectic and I was doing my not quite a jog speed walk, carrying a hand basket filled with security. Guest services had a long line and all 4 registers open, so I just slipped past them knowing where they kept the spider wrap. I was loading up my basket when someone grabs my shoulder and spins me around. A manager who I have worked with before and should know me is berating me for cutting in line and going into an employees only area. I show her my ID and say I am an employee and try to explain what I'm doing. She continually talks over me and insists on calling security. So now she's standing with me next to the registers. She's closed her register to focus on me, so now only 3 are open and the line is getting longer. After several minutes security shows up, looks at me and the spider wrap for less than a second and without acknowledging her just tells me to hurry back to tech because they have been calling that they need security and have been calling on the radio asking what's keeping me. Security didn't even speak to her. Sadly, this wasn't the last time this happened. Story 8. I do work here, lady. Don't worry, I'm not pregnant. I do work here, lady. I work retail, pricing items on shelves. I'm 18F, but look very young and generally exude a nervous, unsure, and very kiddish sort of energy. I wear a Christmas jumper, it's my dad's so it's too big on me a bit, as an optional uniform choice, and in my opinion, most of the time I do the opposite of exuding I work here energy. I exude energy that makes people double take and go, do you work here? Even though I have a bulky portable scanner and printer slung over my shoulder and I'm printing out barcodes and stuff, which I can't imagine a customer would be doing. Today, I was pricing the health section and I picked up a clear blue pregnancy test and a lady, who was humming along to All I Want for Christmas blaring over the store's speakers as she approached from behind me, came up to me and said, "Oh, if you're looking at those ones, they're not any good. Oh. You work here." She was shocked, then she just giggled and said sorry and left. I was sputtering because I didn't really expect the social interaction, so my brain stalled, so I just ended up smiling back and saying, "Ah. Thank you for the information." Which, typing out, I now realize sounds kinda sarcastic, but there wasn't a bit of it in my voice, really. To be honest, I just thought it was very nice of her to come up to someone she thought was perhaps a tiny anxious teen holding a pregnancy test and not offer any judgment, but just a small piece of fair advice. Her smile was nice too, I just think she seemed nice. I did work there, and I wasn't having a pregnancy scare, but thank you anyway. I will bank that information for if I ever need it. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.